What's going on? Welcome to Totally Blitz Podcast. We're about to break down UFC Saudi Arabia. Robert Whittaker is taking on fill-in fighter, but he isn't your average fill-in fighter. Ikram Aliskerov, which should go down in a great fight main event. But as always, before we jump into this full card breakdown, go down and like and subscribe. Comment your picks, your parlays, your bets. We want to hear them. And as always, I'm one half of the show, Paul. Pick a one I'm Contra, and I'm joined with.
Hey man, you already know it's your boy Kev Waterboy's your boy, aka the Don P. He always the realest on your screen. And Paul, bro, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I need some violence this weekend. I need some fights. I just need some good, straight up, pure violence. Just a whole bunch of bleeding. Because the streets have been on fire this week. You got people like, you got in the NBA world, the Celtics. Ugh, won the NBA champ. Ugh, I can't even say it. Ugh. The Celtics. Ugh. Boston disgusts me.
That cornball Jason Tatum with that bullshit want to be KG, anything's possible. Yeah, no.
Bro, you should have heard of at the you should have heard of it at the bar or something afterwards, the after party, talking about some they always wanted to know what I would do if we didn't win. I guess they'll never know. Like we ain't see you get bust by the Suns. Like we ain't see you get bust by the Heat.
Girls will
Like
never
we don't
know.
see you not win all the time. Okay. But hey, but shout out to them boys. That their fan base disgusts me, but they deserve it. They've been riding that high since 2008. And then even in the streets more, Kendrick and them boys, LA doesn't even care about Boston because Kendrick and them boys just had that pop-up show for Juneteenth, got the streets on fire. So the streets are on fire, Paul, and all I need to end this week is some good old-fashioned violence.
And this is the UFC's best attempt to make you forget about that last card they put out. It wasn't very memorable. So like, yeah, we're going to Saudi Arabia. We're
You
gonna
know
cut
what?
some big guns.
I can't say one thing about the last card is it was a great time to have a good. It was a great card to have some really cool fights on, some really cool boxing fights on at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely a weekend of tank, and I ain't talking about the military, baby.
Yeah.
But, yeah, now this weekend should be a good little card. Honestly, this is there's been quite a few weeks where I feel like your average fan could name the casuals, as some people would call them, could name every fighter on the main card. And I feel like this is one of the weeks where a lot of the casuals will know every fighter on the main card. If you have a buddy who doesn't really watch UFC, they may have heard of this one-eyed demon and Shura Magomedov over there. Yeah,
They probably heard me talking about him for sure.
they probably seen pictures of this barefoot Johnny Walker roaming Las Vegas back in the day. Like they have seen these people. Like these are the honestly, this might be one of my favorite cards this weekend. Not this weekend, but on the year. Just because I'm looking at the main card and I'm seeing a lot of finishes. I'm seeing fights that probably will not need judges.
You know what's in my mindset every time the UFC goes back to Saudi Arabia? So you know me, I be in these MMA streets and I always listen to the one thing that Dana White will never forgive Anderson Silva for is for the first time they went to Saudi Arabia. And ever since then, so every time I look at the card, I really try to dissect it to see like, oh, he really is not playing. Like Dana, I'm shocked you weren't wearing your Dana shirt today. He don't never play when they go to Saudi Arabia. These are always his best cards. He has nothing but the East Side, people from the East Side of the world fighting. And the matchmaking is insane. Dana Hunter be that. If you a Dana fan, I'm a Hunter fan.
Yeah, and this should be good. There's been a couple fill-ins. We can kind of address that now. No Hamzat Chimaev for this card. They honestly went out and found the next best person in the division that kind of has a surging middleweight that is kind of hot in the streets, and he's on a win streak, and not just winning but dominating like Chimaev's. They brought in Ikram Aliskerov, which is like I said in the beginning, this isn't your average fill-in fighter. 15-1. You typically don't see fill-in fighters come in and fight Robert Whittaker and only be 1+125 on the odds. There's a reason why the odds are super close, and they expect this fight to be super close. And then on the flip side, Shara Magomedov's fighter that he was supposed to fight, Jordan Lutherback, he pulled out. So now, which was supposed to be a decent little fight, now Shara Magomedov is like minus 750, massive favorite, and he's taking on Antonio Trocoli, who, fun fact, Antonio Trocoli was supposed to be fighting Ikram Aliskerov on last week's card. And this was the fight that got completely canned, so Ikram could fill in this week. So I guess Antonio stayed ready, and now they got him filling in to take on Shara Magomedov's fight.
Oh, I just realized who Ilis Asker who Aliskerov
The
is, and
Demon.
I was like, oh, he fought at the vote card, and I was like, oh,
This.
yeah,
He's
he's
three
been a
straight
killer,
fights in the UFC, three straight finishes, all within. He spent 6 minutes in the octagon total in his UFC
literally.
career. Phil
He's an
Hawes,
animal.
yeah, Phil Hawes not only knocked him out, but like he dropped him like a sack of potatoes. That was one of the nastiest left hand, and he's a southpaw, so like let's straight left down the pipe, drop Phil Hawes, and he was just dead. Um, Alves, same thing, dropped him within 2 minutes, and it was another nasty drop. Sosa, Brazilian BJJ black belt, took him to the ground, submitted him. He's just another Sambo demon that like his only loss was about like 4 or 5 years ago on the Brave FC scene, and he lost to Hamzat Chimaev. And so that's why it's kind of fun for him to fill in. It was like the only time he's lost was to Chimaev, so it's only right he fills in for Chimaev.
That's fine. I didn't know about that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so
that's crazy.
that should tickle your little fancies until we get to that fight at the end of the
I
picks.
was gonna say it got me kind of lit. I'm kind of excited now too, because I was hurt. I was hurt. Chimaev was young. I was like, Chimaev, what is this like? What does he have? Like seven? He has like 7 fights and like 6 canceled fights in like his 6 years or
Yeah,
4 years.
and his manager, whoever I think his manager came out and said it was food poisoning for like this one, and like it was real serious. They were debating on he might retire. Like I was starting to think, I'm like, if Hamza Chimaev really goes in and just like retires off of this like bad medical experience or whatever, he's gonna be one of them crazy like what if stories in the UFC.
Yeah, he beat everybody.
But thank the Lord, that boy looks like he's just gonna recover and come back.
Yeah, he's his. I seen a meme that was like, there's like he's like a killer. Like his immune, he's a killer. He's one of the biggest monsters we've ever seen. But his immune system is more fragile than a Cheeto. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is one of them catch 21, catch 22 type of situations.
mm-hmm.
Let's jump into this main card. Main card action, five straight fights of mayhem. We're opening up with what looks like should be a fight of straight hands with Johnny Walker taking on Volkan Uzumir. Uh, no need to explain who Johnny Walker is. We got two top 10 light heavyweights going at it right here. Volkan, if you don't know, he's background in kickboxing. He is a great striker. That's I think both of these guys are honestly just gonna stand in front of each other. Volkan's gonna, try to throw some leg kicks, some body kicks, and keep a little bit of distance. Johnny Walker might not be as technical sound in the striking, but it only takes one from Johnny Walker, and it's up for you. And Vulcan has lost, I think his last, he's like 2-3 in his last five. Yeah, but he had losses to like Megomed Ankalaev, Yuri Prochazka, Nikolai Kryov. So those are not bad losses. And then Johnny Walker kind of, I mean, he's coming off the Ankalaev loss, but I mean, he kind of rebuilt himself the last year and a half in the UFC.
Yeah, every time I look at Johnny Walker's record, it's because I think the only reason why it looks crazy is off the face that he was supposed to come in here and be the John Jones killer. Like everybody thought he was gonna be the guy to take off John Jones's head. But when you look at his resume, it's insanely nice. He's knocked off Khalil Roundtree. He's knocked out. He's fought Mikhail Kryov, lost to him. He lost. He beat Ryan Spann. He lost to Thiago Santos. Lost to Jamal Hill, former champion. Beat Ian Kutalapta. Beat Paul Gregg. Beat Anthony Smith. Had him talk. Had Anthony talking about some. You tried to hurt my family. Like he really and then he just had those two the no contest to Magomed Ankalaev because he literally was like, I don't know where I'm at right now. And then he said like, nah, bro, we can still fight. Let's run it. And them boys
He's going
almost had a
back.
brawl in
Yeah,
the
he's going
octagon.
back to Saudi too. He said, "Fuck it, we go back to the desert."
So we gotta love it, man. You gotta love Johnny Walker. He's a fun dude on and in and outside of the octagon. So I got Johnny on this one. I'm expecting Volkan to make this a fun fight, and I think I'm expecting a lot of fireworks. But I just realized this fight card is also on ABC. So for them to start off the card like this, the main card like this, is fine.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, this is a fight where they don't expect this to go to distance. My favorite bet on this whole card probably is this fight does not go to distance. If you don't feel safe on picking a winner, you can at least say this fight doesn't go to distance and feel safe.
Facts. Facts.
I feel really safe on Johnny Walker KO TKO. Volkan is a solid striker, but he's gonna get caught. Like he doesn't have he's 34 years old. He's been knocked out before. He doesn't have the best defense anymore. He's not as fluid. He's a little slower now. Not saying Johnny Walker's some speed demon, but it's just you're gonna get caught eventually. And Johnny Walker has the power that like once he lands on a 34-year-old Uzumir, it's gonna rock him. And Uzumir might land 30 shots to Johnny Walker's 15, but those 15 are going to look a lot better to the judges, I think, if it does go to the decision, which I don't think it will. I think this is going to be Johnny Walker by KO. Let's kick it off on the main card for ABC.
Yeah, I like it. Shout out Johnny, man. Hope he does the worm after he wins.
Oh, that'd be fucking right. Sonny's going to know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
They're not. That's not normal, bro. 6'8" doing that. Then our next fight. This is the much hype anticipated. We've seen him once. Now we're going to see him twice. Shara Magomedov taking on Antonio Trocoli. He was supposed to have a much closer fight, but now he's minus 725. He should definitely go out there and win. Honestly, this is a step down in competition for Shara. His first fight was Bruno Silva, who was a very good UFC fighter, a very good test, and now he's taking on a guy who has no professional UFC fights. He lost or he got a no contest on his Contender Series debut last year. So like I don't expect this fight to be very close. The only thing I will say, Trocoli is a big motherfucker for 185. He has an 82-inch reach advantage, almost a 10-inch reach advantage over Shara, and he
Oh,
got
wow.
two eyes. So
He got 2 eyes.
he got two things that Shara don't got right now, which is the reach and two eyes. So that's the only thing that he got on his side that I think he could. He also is really good at shooting takedowns. BJJ black belt from Brazil. He could. So a lot of people are saying like, don't be shocked if this fight's a lot closer than what the UFC and the odds makers are making it. But this is, I mean, if it wasn't a Habib's cousin, if it wasn't another one of these just freak athletes that just when they look at BJJ they laugh it off. If it wasn't one of them, I would be a little bit more worried. But like, it is one of them, and I'm not as worried. I will say we haven't seen much of his wrestling. We haven't seen much of it. We haven't seen any wrestling out of him or any submissions. So maybe he doesn't have that bag like the other ones do. But I'm gonna believe he got it, and I'm gonna go with Shara to get the dub here.
Nice, nice, nice. Oh man, I respect it. I respect it just off the fact that like this one eye dude is a killer. Like if you ever watch our first interview on this podcast, it's with a one eyed MMA fighter named Dre Miley. So we understand that there is a difference. Like there is genuinely a difference. And the fact that you can come out here and be consistent and kill it. And it's at the point now that the UFC can only book you in Saudi Arabia because what's it called? America and the US, they don't the American boxing, the American
The
MMA
Mish.
associations, conferences, confederations, and all that don't know what to do with you. Like he's a killer, but like he might be a liability, but he's a killer. So like I love watching Sharp. Like I'm at the point now where I just kind of want to become a fan slowly but surely. So I'm expecting him to come through and kill him. Like especially as a minus 725 favorite.
Yep. He all his KOs are from like crazy fucking flying knees and like head kicks and shit. So like that's where like some people are saying is like those are easy to reverse if you are good at BJJ. Like if you know like if you kick a head kick and you miss and they catch your leg, now you're in like now they have an easy way to get into like some submission attempts and shit. People are saying, but we'll see. Honestly, should be a fun fight. Then we got Kev's favorite fighter, Kelvin Gastelum, taking on Daniel Rodriguez, and what I thought would be a much closer fight in odds. They got Gastelum at minus 235, Daniel Rodriguez plus 190. They expected Gastelum to win, probably a little comfortably too. I don't know. This is like one of my. I circled Daniel Rodriguez when I saw him at plus 190. I honestly I like him at these odds. He might not win, but there's no way that like to put in perspective, Sergey Pavlovich is minus 250 for his fight. Gastelum is minus 235. like Sergey Pavlovich had like speed run through the heavyweight division before he ran into Tom Aspinall. Like Kevin Gastelum was an up and down fighter. Like you don't know what you're really going to get out of him for you to kind of go in there and think he's going to win that confidently. I kind of like D-Rod here just because like these are two middleweights that win one, lose one type of motherfuckers. Like I wouldn't be too shocked if this is a split decision win. I do think this fight goes the distance. That's my favorite bet on also on this card is this fight to go to distance. I don't see either one of these guys finishing the other guy.
Oh yeah, I mean, so don't get me wrong. You kind of hit it on the nose when you talk about Kev's favorite fighter, Kevin Gastelum, because I my introduction to UFC is when Izzy beat up Kevin Gastelum, but he was winning that fight, and I think his record since then is insane. You told me before 2019, Kevin Gastelum's only losses in the UFC were to Neil Magny, Tyron Woodley, and Chris Weidman. Besides Neil Magny, all former champions.
Yeah.
And then you get to the Izzy fight where they're fighting for the undisputed for the interim title for winner gets to take on Whittaker next. He loses. Takes on Darren Till. He loses.
But
Jack
not only does
Hermansson.
he lose to Izzy, but it's like a 5 round war. Like it's a fucking
Yeah,
fight of the year.
yeah. This is the legit fight that got me into MMA. And after that, he loses to Darren Till, who was a killer. He was on in the split decision. Then he gets subbed by Jack Hermansson. He beats Ian Heinrich. Then he loses to Robert Whittaker unanimously, loses to Cannonier unanimously, and then he takes a 2 year break. We go to Miami. I tell you, I look you in the face, Paul, and say, you don't get better at something without doing it. So Chris Curtis is gonna kill him. And then we go in there and we hear probably the loudest punches we've ever heard in our lives in this fight. So yes, I am a Kevin Gastelum fan. But do I expect Kevin Gastelum to come into the octagon and win a fight every time? Hell no, because that's what I thought against Sean Brady, and he got subbed in the third round. So I'm expecting Gastelum to fight well. Do I think he's gonna beat D-Rod? Do I believe that he's a minus 235 favorite against a I think this should be a pick'em fight, personally. But we'll see. I mean, it's gonna be a close one. D-Rod's coming off of 2 L's, Neil Magny and Ian Gary, like you said, and they're two finishes. So if he doesn't get finished in this fight, it's if they let this fight go to decision, I can see D-Rod getting the decision. But I'm gonna pick Kevin Gastelum because he's only 32.
No, I respect. I didn't realize how old Daniel Rodriguez was until like I started looking more into this fight. I was like, dang, I thought D-Rod was like early 30s, like 31, 32.
Yeah, I'm
And I'm
thinking
like, oh,
34 tops.
yeah. I was like, oh, no, he got some age on it. He got some wear and tear. Like some of them tattoos are really just wrinkles. I just didn't know. No, but just fucking around. I'm gonna take Daniel Rodriguez. I gotta have a dog on the card, and Daniel Rodriguez, he's gonna be my dog. He's gonna be representing. I think he's from LA. He's gonna be representing LA out there in Saudi Arabia, and LA
Yes,
is
he
on
does
like a
LA.
hundred right now.
Yeah, LA is on 100 right now.
He's gonna have the Kendrick and the Kenan friends in his ear. He's gonna go out there and just handle some business.
I'm trying to see where he's from. Yeah, I don't want to say where he's from. I gotta go Topology for that. He's a southpaw though, and he goes to Syndicate MMA.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to jump into this now. The co-main event. We got the kind of touched on earlier. We got Sergey Pavlovich, the demon that speed ran through heavyweight, knocking out everybody until he ran into Tom Aspinall and took his first L in the UFC. And now he's taking on the one and only Alexander Volkov, who we were kind of we called him the gatekeeper. We was giving him the moniker of the gatekeeper, and he said, "Fuck that! I'm a fucking contender." And he went on a 3 fight winning streak where he knocked them out, submitted them. He was just reinvented himself. He even came in with some bangs on you. He started hitting him with the hair flip with you, and I was like, okay, this is a different Volkov. I honestly am excited to see how this fight pans out because I have it going one way in my head. This is actually just one way, but this could be an exciting fight because it is heavyweight. How do you feel about this fight here?
Ah man, so I'm a Volkov fan. I love Volkov. I've been saying Volkov is a great guy since we first started covering him, and his run that he's been on has been nice. He's gotten 3 back to back finishes. He took out Rosenstrike, which was the The finish was a little early. That's one of those Herb Dean early finishes. But we weren't tripping about it because we knew what Volkov was going to do to him. He took out Tai Tuivasa, which we expected him to get done. And Alexander Romanov, he took him out in the first round. So none of these fights, he hasn't been to the third round in a minute. So I really, 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 really like the energy Volkov's coming with. He got a little bang. So that boy be eating right now. But Sergey Pavlovich is still a killer. Like, we can't forget this. Like, I was genuinely not sure who would win out of him and John Jones at first. Like when I first when he was on his killing run and then John Jones won the championship, I really thought John was ducking him. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But
Do you remember the meme? The meme they made of Sergey?
Mm-mm.
And it was like it was just like him standing there and he had all the words around him of like what he is and stuff like murderer, like oh not murderer, but it was just like all these like funny ass things like eats wolves. John Jones doesn't. Like
yeah, Brett's dangerous, man. And if you look, he only has 2 L's. He took when he first got here, he lost to and UFC legend Alistair Overeem. And then he lost to Tom Aspinall. Besides for that, he's ran through everybody in the first round. And truthfully, all those fights were also in the first round.
Even the
never
losses.
made it out the second round. He's never made it to the second round before. So I think this is that fight where he kind of picks up his steam again. I don't think he's the best. He can get a win now and then go back to running through the division like he was before. But I do like him to get this W in the first round against Volkov.
But I'm just like, because in the UFC, even like you said, the losses and wins, all first rounds. These were like no one can escape the first round death, even himself at some points.
Yeah.
But like, then you look at like his like FNG Fight Nights Global when he fought for the belt against Mikhail Mock Knox with the Ken. He went 5 rounds and a decision win over him. Like, I'm just like, who could survive 5 rounds with Sergey Pavlovich? Like, how the fuck did you just survive? I don't know. I just need to see that. I want to know who some of these people on the record prior to UFC are. But like I said, like I said before, I kind of picture this fight going one way. I have a history of those fights that I do that tend to always bite me in the ass because then I kind of put all my eggs in a basket and like I end up getting cooked. But I got Sergey by a stoppage here. I mean, there is a world where Volkov can maybe outbox him on like the safe, like I kind of tag you and get the fuck out of there, don't let you hit me. But Sergey, there's nothing Volkov's got that's gonna make Sergey back up. Sergey's gonna be walking forward, and eventually, even if it isn't in the first 2-3 minutes, that overwhelming pace starts to kick in where you can't like the cage is the back your back keeps hitting the cage like fuck like he's even closer now he's gonna land like I just got him by stoppage here. Volkov doesn't have if Volkov has like a reach advantage over you, I could see him maybe boxing on that side. But Sergey has like these fucking gorilla arms. He has 84-inch reach. His knees are touching his ankles. I mean his arms are touching his ankles. Like he's gonna land, and when he does land, it's gonna hurt. And I haven't seen no UFC fighter because even Tom Aspinall's knees kind of buckled when Sergey touched him. Like it was kind of like let's see who buckles first, and Tom happened to have a stronger chin, but he hurt him. And Volkov at this age, I don't care. This is a steal for me to get Sergey minus 250 in my opinion.
Yeah, man. I agree with it. I look at this fight as a whole though, because when you look at his record, it's just like he really's run through everybody except those 2 dudes that he got that ended up making it to decision with him. Actually, 3 dudes all time making it to decision with him. But they're all punches. They're all punches. Everything is straight punches, 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 punches. All TKO KOs, which is cool in the heavyweight division. But because of that, I think he's very one-dimensional. So when he does run it, if he were to run into that John Jones, if he were to run into an individual that has a chin or has enough wrestling to get away from the punches, I think that's when his weakness is going to show up. So maybe that's what happened when he fought that Mikhail dude in the FNG fights. But as of right now, I don't see nobody touches Sergey Pavlovich as of right now. With those, Nobody under Tom Aspin on John Jones. Everybody else right now is about to be a victim. Is about to be a victim.
I'm looking at Volkov's like history. Like he's been in the fight game for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know, former Bellator champ, former M1 champ. He never got to get the UFC champ, but like he's fought everybody in the UFC since 2016. Like that's a long time. Good win over Overeem, um, over the great Greg Hardy. Like I don't like he. I mean, he's one of those people. I'm looking at his career. Like, is he a Hall of Fame? Like, is this? Yeah, like where do like other UFC people rank him? Like, does Alexander Volkov at 37-10 end up as like a Hall of Famer one day?
Maybe if he were to be like, nah, maybe if he were to get a belt, but I don't think so because he doesn't have that many crazy cool fights either. Like, not like, even people don't really remember his fight against Marcin Tybura. Is
But do
and
you think he goes another like 2-3 years and gets like another like he's one of them Jim Miller motherfuckers that just gets like 40 win like this amasses an insane amount of wins?
Yeah, if he could continue getting a massive amount of wins at the heavyweight division, because there's always going to be new fresh meat at the heavyweight division.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah, I think yeah he could be in that conversation then. But especially since because it's so easy to talk about the UFC Hall of Fame since it's such a new Hall of Fame. Like
Yeah, like he'll have
they're
that
not
like
letting
niche
everybody in.
category of like
Yes,
longevity category.
yeah, they're not letting everybody in, but they're at a point now where they gotta let people in right now, ASAP. Like Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva's fight is about to go into the Hall of
Don't even
Fame.
give me.
So, but we
Oh,
know Chael Sonnen was on roids for that fight. Like,
oh, okay. I thought you were talking about their boxing fight. I was like, don't even get me started on that shit.
oh,
That
we're not even talking about. We can
atrocity.
talk about that in a second. But everybody knows Chael Sonnen was doing steroids that fight. That whole camp, he was on steroids. And like that fight is going into the Hall of Fame. So like
And
the UFC Hall of Fame is a very interesting Hall of Fame at the moment.
Chael Sonnen had one of the dumbest slash greatest excuses ever. He was sitting next to Raya Faber and Dominic Cruz and said, and like, yeah, I thought if I tapped in the fifth round, that just meant I lost that round, not the whole fight. And you just see Raya Faber and Dominic Cruz. Like, what the fuck did you just say? Uh, that's Chael, baby. That's like Chael in essence right there. He's just an
that's,
aura.
that's the bad guy. That's our bad guy.
But yeah, nah. But yeah, moving forward, you're right. You're right. He could potentially make it like a niche category. Uh,
Especially if he stays, he keeps that bang, that bang.
oh yeah, be clean with it. Then we got the main event: Robert Whittaker taking on Ikram Aliskerov. Honestly, the odds -150 for Whittaker, +125 for Aliskerov. A lot of people are screaming like -150 Whittaker, free money. Like, oh, Ikram's gonna be fraud checked. He's looked good, but like all these other UFC guys that look good in their first 2-3 fights, then they move up and fight Bobby Knuckles. Come on, people are really hyping up this Whittaker -150. It's free money right now. Akram is honestly a killer though. Like he is the Sambo. He's another Sambo killer. Um, his only loss is against Chimaev, so it's only right that he gets to fill in for Chimaev, who had to pull out for this fight. They're honestly giving you the same odds that it was for Chimaev Whittaker, but just flipped because I think Chimaev was the slight favorite and Whittaker was the slight underdog. And now that the Akram filled in, it's just flipped the other way. How do you feel about this fight? Like, how do you think this one gets going? And like, are you confident in one personal guy, or are you kind of split?
Bro, I got nothing but love for Bobby Knuckles, bro. Like me as an Izzy fan, me coming into this game was an Izzy fan. And fun fact, like this was the second card I ever watched. The first card was Nuganu versus Cyril Gane. And then this card, the next week, I was like, because I remember telling Paul, like, yo, Paul, this MMA stuff's kind of cool. This Israel guy, kind of fire. And then he's like, oh, yeah, he's actually fighting next week. I was, what? Who's he fighting? Because I'm over here, I'm sending Paul the clips from the documentaries I'm fighting, him beating Robert Whittaker, him beating Anderson Silva. And then Paul's like, no, he fights Robert Whittaker for the rematch. I was the rematch. What?
2022, baby.
I'm telling you, so like there was a whole suspended animation that I was there for that. So like, I got nothing but love for Bobby Knuckles. I love his fighting style. I love his grit. I love his tough. I love when he's not hurt. And even his fights against Yoel Romero, I think I actually like those. I'm not gonna lie. So so I'm a Bobby Knuckles fan, but we cannot make it seem like this is the same dude from. We can't make it seem like this is the same dude. Like in 2020,
What?
yeah,
Nah.
2020, what was it? 2012 to 2021 Bobby Knuckles is not the same Bobby Knuckles as 2022 to 2024. I'm not saying that there's like a complete different. It's just a different. It's just we're talking two different careers, two different points in the career now. There was a part he's that young killer
Two different
monster. Just
trajectories in his career.
yeah, facts. Like we're talking young killer monster can destroy anybody, and then he runs into this African dude, knocks him out. Okay, I'm not tripping. He goes and runs through the rest of the division like he's supposed to. Runs into the African dude again, gets beat. No tripping. He beats the the dog spit out of the Italian dude, Marvin Vittori. And
Vittori.
and then this is what killed me. I remember watching International Fight Week last summer. Dricus Duplessis, Robert Whittaker. I'm like, yo, get this African out of here. Get this white boy out of here. Come on, Bobby Knuckles.
We talked so much shit that episode.
Bro, I'm telling you, what, bro? We were campaigning like, hey, bro, get him out of there and immediately give Robert Whittaker the third fight. We don't care.
I'm
Man,
we said there's no chance of DDP to win, and maybe there's a world. I wish we could see the world that DDP does win that fight, and then first round, like you realize, oh, this is a close fight.
second round, he got him up out of there. Like, it's crazy. And this is the same DDP who I think lost to Sean Strickland. So it's not like this man is a killer in my eyes, even slightly. And then you go watch Bobby Knuckles fight against Paulo Costa. And you're just like, yo, did you just let you beat him unanimous decision for sure? But because of you, he's the reason why everybody thought Paulo Costa had a chance in the last fight because of how good he looked in that fight against Robert Whittaker.
Yeah, this is why I wish Romeo was here because Romeo said, "Oh, Whitaker beat the shit out of Paulo Costa." He's on this delusion that Robert Whitaker just looked perfect against Paulo. Bro, Paulo Costa cracked him a few times.
A few
Like,
times.
it gave me the remembrance of DDP. I was like, yo, he's good. Like, the way he's wobbling back to the cage is like the same type of legs he had when DDP landed a clean, straight shot.
Yep.
And I love Bobby P, but like I seen Ikram drop Phil Halls like a sack of potatoes with a straight left down the pipe. Like but Bobby P, I'm gonna need you to put a little bit more respect on him, bro. He's still top of the craft. Like he's still I like middleweight's in a weird place right now where like
a very weird place.
I think he would beat Sean Strickland. I think he would kind of work Sean Strickland if you took Bobby P versus Sean Strickland.
I can agree with that because I do like their styles against each other.
But then you got Sean Strickland that beat Izzy, and then Izzy owns Robert Whittaker, unfortunately, and then like DDP beats Sean Strickland. I don't know, like it's just all over the place. We'll see what happens with DDP and Izzy, but
MMA math doesn't exist.
No,
and none of these boys can see Alex Paeta. That's all I gotta say. None of them can see Alex Paeta.
But there's a new kid on the block, and that's Ikram. And he was gonna have to, be boogeyman shelved a couple fights of no one wants to fight you, so you're gonna have to fight some nobody that's gonna move your needle any higher. Like you're just gonna keep filling in the prelims. And here we go, a chance of a lifetime here, filling in for Hamzat. Everything on the line. He was already conditioned, so it's not like he just coming off his couch. He had a fight last week that he didn't need, that he didn't go through because he's filling in this week. So he was already in camp. He just got an extra week of camp, an extra week to cut that weight to get into middleweight. Similar fight style to Hamzat, I would say, just a little bit more contained. He doesn't shoot takedowns as aggressive, but he has takedowns. So it is kind of a different game plan for Robert Whittaker for this fight. This isn't someone that's going to come in and just blitz you with some takedowns to try to use overwhelming strength against you. Ikram seems a little bit more contained, reads his opponent, takes the shot, and kind of just dominates on the feet and then goes in with the takedowns when he feels like it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I
So
think,
different fight game plan.
yeah, I think with this fight, because I'm gonna drop my pick right now.
Drop it on me.
I'm taking Ikram. I'm taking Ikram. I definitely didn't have him when I woke up this morning, but after like talking about him throughout this episode, I'm taking Ikram. Ikram, I got him. But I'm taking him because I think Robert Whittaker probably is the better fighter. But I think Robert Whittaker sticks to his game plan. I think when he fought Hamzat, because remember when Hamzat and him originally said it, like I remember because I be on these MMA streets. So remember when after the Izzy fight, they didn't know what to do with Robert Whittaker because it was like he kind of ran through everybody else in the division already. We don't want to give you another title fight because the third one is usually the last one. And then there's just like a huge gap between you and the rest of the division. Like we didn't know. So he was sitting there shelves all forever until and the only time they ever brought anything was up was him versus Hamzat. And I remember him just being like, "Oh yeah, I'll be ready to take on. Yeah, I can take on Hamzat." But like, it was never, "Yeah, give me Hamzat. I'll show you guys that I'm still a killer." It was, "Yo, I mean, I could take Hamzat if he's in the division and if it makes sense, I could take that fight." Very similar to how like Jared Cannonier, like a lot of them were like
I
they were
guess.
trying to they were trying to boogeyman shelf him. Like they really were. There was gonna be like a, I mean, if that's the fight that makes the most sense, we can do it. Like I don't know. But Hamza, I have respect for Whitaker, so it's not like he's a bum or nothing. I just think Whitaker is coming in with a game plan to fight Hamza, and they're gonna be able to switch the game plan. I think they have experts over at what gym is he from? Over
Um,
at
he's at
GMA Super Martial Arts. I think they probably have some good dudes over there for sure. They can figure something out even in a 2 3 week thing to switch up the game plan. But I think Whitaker is gonna come in with the same game plan and stick to it versus Aliskerov is about to come in with something crazy. He knows this is his one shot and he can blow. Because if he does this, he immediately jumps to like top four in the division. Not top five, top four in the division. So he's coming in ready. He's coming in with his motherfucking country on his sleeve. He's gonna come in ready, knowing that if he doesn't win this fight, and if he looks good in this fight, he will not be able to fight nobody. Nobody else is gonna want to fight him. So he got to get this dub. So he's putting the heart on his sleeve right now.
see, this fight is it's close. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go with Ikram as well. I had Robert Whitaker, but I kind of talked myself out of it with the thought of his chin and Ikram's straight left hand. That is one thing that I think eventually will land. I think he's gonna land first round, honestly. I think just similar to like DDP, like we're starting to notice the chin is starting to fade on Robert Whitaker. Paulo Costa, if he had a better gas tank, if he was a smarter fighter, there was a world he beats Robert Whitaker in that last fight, but that's not what he is. And I just think Ikram is gonna be someone who he's also smaller for the division too, kind of like Robert Whitaker. But that just gives like this is someone that he can match up with as Robert Whitaker. If he's gonna like him fighting Izzy, I think he's gonna be in the fucking whirlwind because their reach advantage is gonna kill him. But
Mm-hmm.
him versus Robert Whitaker, I think is actually a good matchup for him in this division. Someone that he can actually he doesn't have he has the same size as, so his sambo wrestling is probably gonna come into play.
Mm-hmm.
I like him here. First ever true test. This could be a huge jump up. This could be similar to a Bus Magomedov fighting Sean Strickland in his second ever UFC fight, and then Sean Strickland beats him, and it goes on to fight for the belt, and beats him pretty easily. But I don't know. The odds makers made it close for a reason. They seeing what we seeing.
Yeah.
But it is a huge jump up because like Phil Hawes is like got cooked in all his UFC fights so far. Alves has got cooked in his UFC fights. So it's like Ikram has won, but the people that he beat has also gotten cooked by some other UFC fighters. So
No, I think he's fought in camps for sure. Like he's fought whoever's willing to take the challenge. But this is his chance. This is your chance, Ikram. I'm gonna need whoever you are whoever you got with you to translate this for you. This is your shot. You got one shot, and you could jump to this because I love the confusion that's in the middleweight division right now. I feel like the middleweight division was a very sustained division for a long time, and now the confusion here is just had it in shambles for the last year and a half, and I love it.
It's true. Middleweight has been kind of like steady. It was tried and true. You knew who was at the top, and now it's kind of like everything's been kind of shaken up as you know it.
Because what was it? It was like the Anderson Silva run for so long, and then there was the Chris Weidman and them, and then you get fast forward, you get to the Robert Whittaker, you get to the Izzy. Like people are holding down this
Even
division.
before them, you had the oh no, my yeah, no, you had it right, you had it right. It was Anderson Silva for like fucking 10 years.
Yeah, like people are holding on. Now it's insane. Ever since Alex knocked out Izzy in New York, nothing's been the same.
Facts. That shifted everything. That put us into an alternate universe, bro. I'm telling you.
Literally, literally, that changed the whole course of history.
And I'm here for it. I enjoy every second of it. And because of it, because like my gut, everything like in my MMA instincts is saying, take Robert Whittaker. This is a big fight for her to do. But like, I feel like every time I've listened to those, I've been shocked by the other person. So I'm gonna go with the one. I'm gonna take the person to shock the world this time.
Yeah, go ahead and take the Russian. Go ahead and take the Russian with me.
Bro, I'm pro Russian this whole this whole card. Like my whole UFC MMA career, I'm pro Russian, bro. Always pick the Russian when it comes to this MMA shit. But anything else?
Oh, before we go,
okay, yeah.
your man's Connor. What's up? What's up with your man?
Well, I knew this shit was all fugazi, smoke screen bullshit. He did get hurt. If it isn't life-threatening, crazy injury, it's just gonna push him back a couple more months. He's hoping that it's a little earlier than anything. But honestly, bro, we said it. We're like, you can't have this happen too many times. Like the people were already hating and clowning. The people are already saying like, "Oh, this fight's not gonna happen." Oh, this is like y'all had the whole tough season, which feels like a millennium ago. Like y'all couldn't cash in on like, oh, we have the tough that's gonna lead into this, and then that got pushed back. And then all of a sudden we see Connor looking coked up, strong as big as fuck in some clubs, and we're like, he don't look like he can make that weight class. And then you have to change it to a different weight class. And then
Mm-hmm.
and then it gets pushed back to a certain date that y'all guarantee. And then now here we are after that guarantee. And it's like the Connor
I
fans are still gonna buy it, but like I don't know.
I think, from my opinion, and I think what's happening from a business point of view, and I think they needed the Connor. There was like a deadline for the Connor fight, because imagine how much Connor has done in the past with no ESPN.
No ABC.
Now you got ESPN on your side. You have a chance against with his audience.
And
With the we
Stephen A
have the
loves Connor.
fact, you have the biggest sports. You have the biggest sports audience and the biggest MMA audience, and now you have a chance to use the biggest star on the biggest platform. And with numbers, and anybody that knows numbers astronomically transcend your company forever. And that's what they wanted to do. I think that's why they rushed the tough season. I think that's why they rushed the I think that's why they were really, really. That's why Michael Chandler hasn't taken no fights besides for this one, and that's what it is. Like the business behind it, you got to get it done with ESPN, because if you get this done with ESPN right now, you understand how much you can charge the next person when negotiations. Like, yo, bro, like when we bring our biggest fighter out, the numbers are astronomical. Who is Floyd Mayweather and Manny
But they
Pacquiao?
really
Like,
only got they. I mean, with the Michael Chandler pick, Michael Chandler could lose. I'm not going out here saying Michael Chandler is going to dog walk Connor, but you gotta win or make it at least very competitive, like split decision, or you dropped him, or you had the armbar locked in, but he came back. Some American hero shit. But if you go out there, Michael Chandler, unanimous decisions, 5 round, easy wins, fucking 15-minute control time on you. They can't. They're not doing another million pay-per-view buys with Connor again. They're not doing
mm-hmm.
700K. They're not doing 500K. You're going straight to the legal streaming sites, buddy. Like that's it.
Facts.
like that's just like you have one shot for this Connor thing, and if he has to win, so then the next guy can sign up for a big payday. Because if you come out there and get dog walked, and people are gonna keep buying your pay per view that you're on, I don't know. Like you gotta at least be good.
Facts, 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 factsity facts. So yeah, it's up to Connor controls his own destiny right now. Well, I guess his doctors control his own destiny right now. And
Yeah.
if he comes in, the only way, in my opinion, the only way to keep that Connor hype after all this would be to like come in and get a win. And I need a Jose Aldo type win. I mean, hit him on the chin and drop him.
Yeah, because if you lose to Michael Chandler, no one gives a fuck about because like Justin Gaethje beat him. So did Dustin
That's
Poirier.
what
Like
it is.
yeah, like you're not gonna get those people any because you lost to the guy that they beat also. Like you're gonna go fight people below Michael Chandler. That's not gonna pull any star power. That's not him versus Rafael Baziv might be fun, but like the
Right
average
by that.
at home fan of like sports don't know who the fuck Rafael Baziv is, even though he's a killer.
Yeah, and they're not buying that because Connor's gonna get bust.
Yeah, like you're not. No one gives a fuck if he fights RDA in 2024, 2025. Like that fight's no longer funny. No one wants to see you fight Gamrot. That would be boring wrestling fight. Like I'm sorry, like this is your one. You beat Michael Chandler, then you could potentially fight Islam in some mega billion-dollar pay-per-view fight.
Yeah, and you know they're gonna milk the whole Khabib and everything thing.
Khabib's in the corner. You know it's gonna be the whole show.
The press conferences will be insane.
They're gonna have Connor. They're gonna have Khabib's team down here. They're gonna have Connor like come down from the fucking air, like being suspended in a cage and shit, like a demon talking in the presser.
Mm-hmm. And it just doesn't help that like there's cameras everywhere and like you see Connor all over the place, and they're catching him at the worst times. I'm just like, fuck.
Tongue out, no buttons on his shirt, drinks in hand in the club.
Dude, fuck. And then what's it called? Yeah, I hear like a couple months ago. I knew it was bad when a couple months ago he had fucked that girl in the bathroom, and they put that all over the place. I was like, oh my gosh. Even the girl was getting famous off of that. I was like, oh yeah, Connor, yeah. We just need to see you in the octagon, Brody.
For real.
Hell yeah. But this has been a great episode, Paul.
Yes,
UFC
sir.
Saudi Arabia on ABC. So this is gonna be fun this weekend.
Yes, sir.
So that means this card is like at 3 o'clock, right?
Yeah, the main card starts at 3. The prelim start at like I think 12 noon Eastern. It's early card, but it's in Saudi Arabia. You should have already known that one. If you watch some boxing, you definitely know that happens. But everyone pop out. He's not on this episode, but comedian Romeo Mack Saturday he's gonna be going live. I don't know if I might be on there actually.
Okay.
You'll be there. I might be in there actually. I know I'm off, so catch us there Saturday tomorrow for the fucking the comedian Romeo Max live stream to watch along with us as we watch if our picks are right or wrong. But as always, we appreciate you watching. Go down, like and subscribe. Comment your picks as well. Give us your bets, your parlays. I'm Paul, pick and win them with Kev, Waterboy Savoy. And if y'all didn't know, now y'all know, motherfuckers.